Yeah.
In 1956, I was an RAF stationed in Germany, about 70 miles from Hanover. I received a letter from home with the news that Doris, also known as Jo, was to marry a chap she had met on a stopover flight to Hanover. So as I was free on the coming Sunday, September the 9th, 1956, I decided to go and see him. Not to check on him as some people suppose. And luckily found him. We had a meal together, and I thought he was a very pleasant chap. I did not see him again until their wedding day on February 23rd, 1956. I'm sure they've had a nearly 53 years of happy married life together. Amen.
Amen.
We did.
That's right.
Boys behind us says we did.
Quiet, please!
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to speak to you about Eddy on behalf of the French family. I first met Eddy when I was working at British Air Tours. Our friendship with him and his family began one day about 30 years ago when the windscreen on our car shattered and we took it to the shop in Peterhouse Parade to have it repaired. Our youngest son, Andrew, then about 6 years old, decided he needed to go to the toilet. I knew that Eddy lived in Grattan's Drive, and as there were no public loos nearby, I felt sure he would not mind us knocking on his door. So we did. His wife Joan, who we had not met, answered the door. I introduced us and explained our predicament. Eddy came to the door, and Andrew immediately held up his arms and jumped at him. Fortunately, Ed caught him, and that was the start of our long family friendship. We have many memories of Eddy, too many to mention here. We shared special occasions and holidays together, and many lovely meals. Joan is an excellent cook, and Eddy a very good drinks master. We never left their house hungry or thirsty.
That's true.
In fact, it was often a very wobbly walk home.
That's
Eddy
true.
and Joan were always there for us and used to look after Stephen and Andrew so that we could have holidays on our own, and the boys were more than happy to stay with them. They referred to Eddy and Joan as their surrogate grandparents. Stephen was interested in carpentry, and Eddy helped him design and make various things for my kitchen. Eddy treated our boys as he treated his own children, and if they misbehaved and needed a good telling off, they certainly got it. The holidays the four of us shared together in Siesta Key, Florida were great fun. The nicest part was sitting around the pool, sipping our sundowners and putting the world to rights. Eddy and Bob would cook on the barbecue, while Joan and I carried on sipping and chatting. My memories of Eddy are that he was a very kind, caring, softly spoken Welshman, and I have never known him lose his temper, although I guess he probably did. Nothing was too much trouble for him, and he was always ready to help us out. He took our kids for interviews when we were not able to, and when we moved house, he was there with his toolkit to plumb in the washing machine and do any number of odd jobs, things a dad would do for his son or daughter. For me, Eddy was like a second father, and to our boys, a second granddad. We will all miss him very much. Rest in peace, dear Ed. With all our love, the French family. Thank you.
Nice to see some of the people here to remember Eddy. My arms are getting too short, Eddy. I first met Eddy when I joined Air Tours in the early 70s. It wasn't until we retired that we met more socially. Together we went to the lectures. Together we went to the lectures given by the Gatwick branch of the Royal Aeronautical Society. Eddy was very keen on aircraft and anything connected with aviation. He was an excellent aircraft engineer with vast experience. He worked in various locations, One in particular was Hanover, and he often said how lucky he was because it was there that he met Joan. They married, and he told me he was still lucky 50 odd years later. After the lectures, we always seemed to find ourselves in one of the local pubs. Eddy would then fill me in on the parts of the lecture that I had missed because of my poor hearing. I denied it as I fell asleep during the lecture. Our discussions often got around to putting the world right. We always knew what to do, but unfortunately the politicians didn't. He often liked to discuss family issues. His hopes for his children, although they were adults, he still felt he was the pet leader. Eddy was born in Cardiff and was very proud of his Welsh heritage. As my late wife was Welsh, born in Brynmawr, my apologies for the pronunciation of Brynmawr, for the Welsh people here. We had some sort of affinity there. The subject of rugby always came up, particularly when the 5 nations, latterly the 6 nations matches were progress. As we know, rugby in Wales is almost a religion. Eddy loved the sport and supported the Welsh national team passionately, particularly when they played England. That was the one they had to win regardless. When Wales beat England, which was most of the time, Eddy was ecstatic. On the very rare occasions England won, he needed another pint. I'm pleased to say that Eddy was a good friend of mine, and I will miss him, and I'm sure most of you will.
Thank you, Gordon.
Some introduction jokes, ladies and gentlemen, from an engineer. Here we go.
If you take log entries, don't take these too seriously, and it's supposed to be quite amusing. Most people don't know what a take log is. It's something that at the end of the flight, the captain has to fill in any defects he's found on the aircraft, and the poor old engineer's going to fix them. One particular snag always amuses me here. Left inside a main tyre almost needs replacement. The answer from the engineer is left inside tyre almost changed. Something loose in the cockpit has the defect. Answer, something in the cockpit tightened. Evidence of leak of right main landing gear. Evidence removed. Friction locks cause throttles to stick. That's what friction locks are for. Mounting cockpit. Cat installed. The noise coming from under the instrument panel sounds like a midget hitting something with a hammer. The answer, took camera away from midget. Number 3 engine missing. Engine found on right wing after a brief search. Aircraft flies funny. Aircraft warned to straighten up, fly right, and behave itself. That's about all for now.
Thank you.